Hello, welcome to my channel today. Thank you for joining. Please kindly subscribe, hit the subscribe button, like and share. Today we are going to be talking about Rhesus factor incompatibility and how it affects fetal health, also how it can cause miscarriages and infertility. Right. Rhesus incompatibility or Rhesus factor incompatibility is an immune response from a Rhesus negative mother to a Rhesus positive fetus. Now, what are Rhesus factor? Rhesus factor is that protein or a coating that you have on your red blood cells. So you can either be Rhesus positive or Rhesus negative. By Rhesus positive, I mean that you have the Rhesus factor. While by Rhesus negative, it means that you do not have the Rhesus factor. So now, this Rhesus factor incompatibility, this issue arises when a mother who is the carrier of the baby conceives a baby that is Rhesus positive. This means that the mother doesn't have this protein on her red blood cells, and the baby she's carrying has this protein on his or her red blood cells. So there is going to be an immune response. You know, the body immune system has a mechanism of fighting anything foreign. It sees this antigen, this coating on these fetal red blood cells as a foreign body, so it begins to attack the fetal red blood cell. This attack can lead to hemolysis anemia, it can lead to hepatitis, it can lead to liver disease or failure, and all the rest of them. So this attack is the main issue we have regarding Rhesus factor incompatibility. So now you'll be asking yourself, who is at risk for this Rhesus factor incompatibility? Obviously, the fetus is at risk because it is the fetal red blood cells that is being destroyed by the mother's immune system, immune bodies. Okay, so this constant destruction of the red blood cell can lead the baby to having hemolytic anemia, which is one of the complications of this Rhesus factor incompatibility. I will get to that later. So now another question you'll be asking yourself, at what point is the fetus at risk? Now for a Rhesus negative mom, at her first delivery, that's her first pregnancy, the fetus is sound and healthy. There is no destruction in the red blood cells. Why? Because there had been no blood exchange between the fetus and the mother until during delivery. Okay, so now after the delivery of the first pregnancy, after the delivery of the baby during the first pregnancy, this is when we start being more careful and taking the management treatment to prevent the hemolysis at the second pregnancy. Now, during the delivery, there is a maternal to fetal blood interaction. So the maternal immune system now recognizes that, oh, this fetus that just left the womb is Rhesus positive. So they now build an immune response to prepare themselves for the next fertilization. Yes, that's the next pregnancy. So at what point is the fetus at risk? That is at the second pregnancy, not at the first. At the first, everything is fine, the baby is fine, the red blood cells, everything is intact, the baby is healthy, no issues, liver okay, functioning perfectly. But when this mom is conceived of her second baby, this is when it becomes an issue of concern. You will see that upon your registration for your antenatal visits and cares, you will be recommended to do some certain tests to check if your body is already sensitized or if it is not. Okay, now let me bring to you some tests that you can use to screen yourself if you are already sensitized, because most persons don't even know if they are Rhesus positive or Rhesus negative. That is why during your antenatal registration, your doctor requires you to do blood grouping and Rhesus factor test. So here you are being told either you are blood group O Rhesus positive or blood group O Rhesus positive. Either you are being told that you are blood group A Rhesus positive or blood group A Rhesus negative. Either you are being told your blood group B Rhesus positive or blood group B Rhesus negative. So that Rhesus, whatever that is at the end, tells you whether you are positive or negative. This is never an issue for couples that are intending to marry. Don't be scared. I'm a Rhesus negative mom and I have my 4 beautiful children, all healthy. It's just about information, okay? So if you are a Rhesus positive mom and your husband is a Rhesus negative man, that means your husband doesn't have the Rhesus factor, but you do have the Rhesus factor. There is no need to be scared. Everything is fine. There will be no reaction, no immune reaction because you are the positive mom. But if the concern only sets in if you are the Rhesus negative mother now carrying a Rhesus positive fetus. Always put this in mind. Now, what are the tests you can do? You can do a direct or indirect Combs test. This test can tell you if you're sensitized. That means if your body, your immune system have already been sensitized by the fetus that is positive. That is one. Secondly, you can control the control measure, the treatment that can help you to prevent this sensitization on your second, third pregnancies. You are being given a shot of an immunoglobulin, also known as Rogam, after the delivery of your second child, or even during antenatal, like during pregnancy. If the doctor sees that your direct Combs test results are positive for sensitization, they can suggest to you that you really need this immunoglobulin shot to be able to preserve your fertile red blood cells. Now, what are the complications that might arise from these Rhesus factor incompatibilities? One of the complications are liver disease or liver failure. Yes, because the liver is that organ that secretes a hormone known as erythropoietin that stimulates the bone marrow to start producing red blood cells. So if there is a liver dysfunction, we see that due to the constant breakdown of the red blood cells, the liver cannot catch up with the frequent activity of producing adequate erythropoietin, which in turn stimulates the bone marrow to produce red blood cells to replenish the destroyed red blood cells that the fetus have as a result of the immune fight between the mother and the fetus. So because of this constant heavy load on the liver tends to shut down or being damaged. Another complication that arises from Rhesus factor incompatibility is hepatitis. Hepatitis because the cells around the liver cells are being inflamed. So because of this inflammation, the liver is not able to carry out the normal physiological processes of secreting the erythropoietin, like I said earlier, which in turn triggers the bone marrow to produce red blood cells that will be adequate to carry the fetus. Now, the third complication that can arise from this Rhesus factor incompatibility is jaundice. You know that the liver, when the red blood cells that are now broken down in the fetus, we have the two portions. The red blood cells has two portions. We have the hem part and the globulin part. That is why it's called hemoglobin. When you join them together, hem and globulin, that's hemoglobin. So when these red blood cells are broken down, the hem portion, the globulin portion, the hem portion enters circulation, while the globulin portion, it's being filtered, is being removed by the liver through the bile. You know that little organ that is called bile in your system. The bile now excretes this globulin parts. Okay, so in a normal working liver, it's being excreted through the bile. But when the liver is being dysfunctioned, like it doesn't work properly, you see that this other portion that is supposed to be excreted by the bile is still in circulation in your blood, thereby is being found around the vessels, the blood vessels. These concentrations around the blood vessels now gives rise to the yellowish pigmentation you see on the skin, and some of them get filtered into the eye. You see the eyes becoming yellow and the skin's yellow. That's jaundice. So for any jaundiced baby, it simply means that they have red blood cell depletions, they have red blood cell destructions. So that is why, and it also shows that their liver and the bile are not able to excrete them. So that is why you have a jaundiced baby. These are one of the complications. Another complication is hemolytic anemia. This is a type of anemia that is caused by low red blood cell counts. Yes, so you don't want to see your newborn receiving transfusions in and out because of this. So information is the key. So what do you do as a Rhesus negative mom? After your second pregnancy, tell your doctor, I'm Rhesus negative. Please, I think you should screen me for direct and indirect home tests. And if you're sensitive from the results you get, you will be given a shot, an immunoglobulin shot called Rogam. Thank you for listening and staying with me to the end. Please do follow and subscribe, like and share my videos so as to get to the required audience that might need this information. Love you all.